Immortality is the indefinite persistence of a person's existence, even after death. In common manner of speaking, immortality is virtually blurry from afterlife. But philosophically speaking, they are not identical. Afterlife is the extension of existence after death, regardless of whether or not the extension is indefinite. Immortality implies a never ending existence, regardless of whether or not the body dies. As a matter of fact, some hypothetical medical technologies offer the vision of a bodily immortality, but not an afterlife. Immortality has been one of mankind's major concerns, and even though it has been habitually mainly narrowed to religious traditions, it is also important to philosophy. Although a wide variety of cultures have believed in some sort of immortality, such beliefs have been may be concentrated to basically three non-exclusive models. First one is the survival of the cosmological body resembling the physical body. Second one is the immortality of a immaterial soul, and the third one is rebirth of the body or recreation in case the resurrected person does not keep the same body as at the moment of death. A substantial part of the discussion on immortality touches upon the ultimate question in the philosophy of mind: do souls exist? Dualists believe souls do exist and survive the death of the body. Materialists believe mental activity is nothing but rational activity, and thus death brings the total end of a person's existence. However, some immortalists believe that even if immortal souls do not exist, immortality may still be attained through resurrection. Consideration on immortality are also intimately related to consideration of personal identity, because any justification of immortality must address how the dead person could be identical to the original person that once lived. Traditionally, philosophers have considered three main criteria for personal identity. First one is the soul criterion, second one is the body criterion, and the third one is the psychological criterion. Although empirical science has little to offer here, the field of parapsychology has tried to offer empirical evidence in favor of an afterlife. More recently, secular futurists visualize technologies that may swing death indefinitely, such as strategies for engineered negligible sentience, and mind uploading, thus offering a view for a sort of bodily immortality. Semantic problems. Address on immortality bears a semantic difficulty regarding the word death. We usually define it in physiological terms as the termination of biological functions that make life possible. But if immortality is the furtherance of the life even after death, a conflict appears to come up. For speciously, it makes no sense to say that someone has died and yet survived death. To be mortal is exactly not to suffer death. Thus, whoever dies stops existing. Nobody may exist after death, and precisely because death means the end of existence. For suitability, however, we may agree that death simply means the breakdown of the body, but not necessarily the end of a person's existence, as presumed in most dictionary definitions. In such a manner, a person may die in such as much as their body no longer exists, or to be more precise, no longer holds vital signs, pulse, brain activity, and so forth, but may continue to exist either in a spiritual state, with an eternal body, or with some other physical body. Three models of immortality. Despite the enormous variety of beliefs on immortality, they may be reduced to three basic models: the survival of the astral body, the immaterial soul, and resurrection. The first one is the survival of the astral body. Much basic religious thought considers that human beings are made up of two body substances: a physical body, vulnerable of being touched, smelt, heart and sin, and an astral body made of some sort of mysterious eternal substance. Unlike the physical body, the astral body has no solidity. It can go through walls, for example, and hence it cannot be touched, but it can be seen. Its appearance is similar to the physical body, except perhaps its color tones are lighter and its figure is fuzzier. Upon death, the astral body separates itself from the physical body and moves in some region within time and space. Thus, even if the physical body decomposes, the astral body survives. This is the type of immortality most commonly presented in films and literature. For example, Hamlet's Ghost. Traditionally, philosophers and theologians have not privileged this model of immortality as there appears to be two undefeatable difficulties. If the astral body does exist, it should be seen depart from the physical body at the moment of death. Yet there is no evidence that accounts for it. Ghosts usually appear with claws. This would imply that not only are there astral bodies but also astral claws, a claim simply too extravagant to be taken seriously. The material soul. The model of the immortality of the soul is parallel to the astral body model, is as much as it considers that human beings are made up of two substances. But, unlike the astral body models, this model conceives that the substance that survives the death of the body is not a body of some other sort, but rather an immaterial soul. Inasmuch as the soul is immaterial, it has no extension, and thus it cannot be perceived through the senses. A few philosophers, such as Henry James, have come to believe that for something to exist, it must occupy space, although not necessarily physical space, and hence souls are located somewhere in space. The resurrection of the body. Whereas most Greek philosophers believed that immortality refers solely to the survival of the soul, the three great monotheist religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, consider that the immortality is achieved through the rebirth of the body at the time of the final judgment. The very same bodies that once founded persons shall rise again in order to be judged by God. Some of this great faith has a definite position on the existence of an immortal soul. Therefore, traditionally Jews, Christians, and Muslims have believed that at the time of death, the soul separates from the body and continues on to exist in an intermediate spiritual state until the moment of resurrection. Some others, however, believe that there is no intermediate state. With death, the person ends to exist and, in a sense, resumes existence at the time of resurrection.